block of time. We're in transition because he's going from school to vacation.
Okay. Okay, let's share the screen. You also make sure it doesn't give us double audio like yesterday. What? Why? What? Yes.
Well, here we go. I'm trying to find where is the turn off.
Okay, let's share the screen. You also make sure it doesn't give us double audio like yesterday.
I turned mine off. Mine is off.
Okay, now we're
Somebody else's.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Regard.
What happened?
Okay. So what happens if you see a dog in your dream?
How come mine is?
So again,
Mine is searching. What is it?
I don't know. You have issues. You have issues with your phone. Get a new one. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. So so we're talking about all kinds of things. Since dreams follow their interpretation, there are all kinds of things that if you see them, you should say both the positive and you should say the positive verse related to that creature before you get the negative thing related to that creature happens to you.
Okay, where are you on the page? We 56B.
Yep. You lower it. I can still hear it. You also lower it more.
Oh, lower.
We're down here in the middle of the page where it says Yishayahu Chav Zayin. Aroa Keleb Bechalo in the middle, a little bit below the middle of the page. Someone who sees a dog in his dream, Yashkim, you should get up. Yomar, you should say, L'chol b'nei Yisrael l'yachretz kalav l'shona. And to all the children of
Bear.
Here, also where it says Yishaya Chav Zayin.
Oh,
Further down.
that's Yeshayahu.
No, here, Chav Zayin, here. Look where my finger is.
Oh,
If someone sees a dog in his dream, you should get up and say a positive pasuk. L'chol b'nei Yisrael, to all the children of Israel. Lo yacharatz kelav l'shono. No dog wetted his tongue. No dog barked at the Jews when they left Egypt. Less what another pasuk which shows dogs as a bad sign happened to you. The dogs are greedy, referring to the enemies of the Jewish people. Someone who sees a lion in a dream should say the pasuk Ari Sha'ag Milo Yira. If a lion roars, who will not fear. Hashem has spoken, which is a good thing. Amos. Kodem Shagyan pasuk Acher. Before another pasuk comes, Allah Arya Misubko. A lion has come out of his thicket and is describing the destruction of the temple by Nebuchadnezzar. So again, you should say a verse that indicates a positive spin to what you saw, lest the negative thing happen, because dreams follow the interpretation. Aroa Galglachas B'Chalom. If you see yourself getting a haircut in a dream, Yashkin BM, you should get up quickly and say the pasuk about Yosef. Vayigalach, and he cut his hair, Vayachlev Simlosav, and changed his raiment, which is about Joseph getting out of jail and going to Pharaoh with good results. Kodim Shekna pasuk Acher, lest another pasuk happened to you. Kim Galuchti V'Sar Mimenu Kochi. It is from Shimshon, who said, if you will shave me, if you will cut my hair, my strength will leave me, which is a bad thing. So you want to think about the good thing and not the bad thing. Yes. Well, Haman was a barber, but the Gemara doesn't mention that. But yes, Haman was a barber.
Haman was a barber.
Yeah, before he became rich and famous, he was a
How
barber.
do we know that?
There's a medrash that when Achashverosh, there's a midrash that when Achashverosh told Haman, go bring Mordechai and put him on the horse, Mordechai says, I haven't washed or cut my hair for weeks. I've been fasting. I've been sackcloth. So Haman had to take him to the bath and scrub him all over. And then he said, my hair is long. So Haman had to cut his hair. So Haman groaned. And he says, why are you groaning? He says, such an important person as me should have to cut a Jew's hair. So Mordecai says, before you became famous, you were a barber. So you're still a barber. What's the big deal? That is the midrash that Bobby is referring to. Someone who sees a well in his dream, Yashkim B'Yomar, should get up and say, Be'er Mayim Chayim, that God is a well of living water. In other words, which is a positive thing.
Well, this is a reference to Torah too.
Right.
Mayim Chaim. Torah is Mayim Chaim.
Right. And also a soda company in Williamsburg.
That's the story with Melech David.
Right. He
sends for water, but he really wanted a psak from a rabbi.
Right. It was in Shir Hashirim, a well of living waters, before another thing happens, like a well, like a cistern is full of water. The Jewish people are full of wickedness, says Yirmiyahu. If you see a reed in a dream, you should get up early and say, a bruised reed shall he not break, about Mashiach, before another pasuk comes. The Jews relied on the Egyptians, who were like a bruised and broken reed. Now we finished with this business of seeing things that you should interpret positively before a negative interpretation happens. Now we're going to give you a list of dream interpretations. Aroa Katona Rabbanan. Now, of course, the question is, what kind of dream is this? Does it have to be a special kind of dream? Some authorities explain, some commentaries explain, this is only where you know this to be a special prophetic dream. Katona Rabbanan, we learned in the Brisa, Aroa Kona B'Chalom, someone who sees a reed in a dream, Yitzapeh L'Chachma, should expect wisdom to descend upon them. Shinamar Kanei Chachma, as it says, acquire wisdom, and Kanei, acquire, and Kana, read, are spelled the same way in Hebrew. Kanim, if you see several reeds, Yitzapeh Labina, you should hope not for wisdom, but also understanding. Shinamar V'chol Kinyonecha, with all your acquisitions. Kanei Bina, acquire Bina. Acquire understanding with all your, and so with many acquisitions, as many kana is the same word as acquire, so many acquisitions is understanding. And the explanation of this idea is that chachma is the flash of insight, bina is the ability to expand an insight you have and develop many ideas from it. In other words, for instance, we know Newton's, there are a lot of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, which teaches us many things. It teaches us how to design a rocket or jet engine. It teaches us the principle of the recoilless. It teaches us, but the point is, you expand it, that core idea that every action, it goes into rocketry, it goes into balancing shafts on engines, it goes into the design of the recoilless rifle, and so on. The point being that Bina is the ability to expand. So if Chachma is one reed, Bina is many reeds. So it's the metaphor goes deeper. Okay. Rabbi Zera says the following things you see in a dream are all good to dream about. Kara, pumpkins or squashes. Hura, parts of palm, kira, wax, kanya, and reeds, kula malulachalma. They're all good to see in a dream because they all relate to wisdom. Let us see what Rashi says. And we'll see later, and he's going to explain these. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, Ein Marin Deluim, we don't show squash or pumpkins. It's like butternut. In other words, a yellow squash. And only to someone, Yirei Shemayim B'Kol Kocho, is truly God-fearing.
Why?
What's the connection between God-fearing?
Why pumpkin?
Well, it means any kind of hard squash.
Because of the many seeds inside?
Gourds.
What?
Gourds.
Yeah. Gourds too, yeah.
That would take in the whole class there.
So let's see. Yeah, it says gourds here. Deluim are gourds. Okay, but I want to see. Let's look at the commentaries because we don't have anything in Rashi. Let's look at the Mefarshim.
The kissing of two eyes.
Okay. Oh, because it says in Yeshayahu, the Lu'ein Olamorim, lift your eyes up to above, to heaven. So a God-fearing person is always lifting his eyes, he's always thinking about God. That's a God-fearing person, aware of God's presence. Therefore, since the Lua, the Las, and the Lu, lift your eyes, and the Lad have similar roots, so that's the connection.
And then God sent a bunch of geese flying over.
Aroa Shorba
Looking
Chalom.
up at an apple tree, you look up.
Yeah.
Gourds, you look down.
It's not Aroa Shorba. No, but
What about cactus?
the Hebrew word dalat is the same root as the Hebrew word dalu, which means to lift up.
Dalu?
Yeah. The Lu'ein Olamorim, lift your eyes up because a bucket in a well is called dali, because you lift it up from the
Dali is a
lidlot is to lift up in Hebrew, in biblical and Mishnaic Hebrew. Haroa shorba chalom, someone who sees an ox in a dream, yashkim v'yomer, now we're going back to things that you should give a good spin before a bad spin happens to you. If you see an ox in your dream, you should get up and say, B'chor show heart of a about Yosef. A firstling ox, majesty is his. Sorry, yeah. In about Yosef in Moshe's Brachot, Code Mashiach Kadvenu Pasuk Acher, before another verse happens, Kigach Shorasish, if an ox gore a man, which is a bad thing. Now, but there's a lot more to be said about dreaming of oxen when you dream of a bull. By the way, shor means a bull, not necessarily an ox. Tanu Rabbanon, we learned in the
What's the
Brisa.
difference between an ox and a bull?
Because in English, an ox sometimes means a bull that has been castrated. And gelded. And we're not allowed to castrate or spay animals. The truth is, according to Maimonides, a non-Jew isn't allowed to either. So if you bought a cat or a dog that was spayed, you can keep it, but you are not allowed to have your own animals spayed or neutered.
How about if you dream for a half horse or half human being?
I will see. Either it'll be in the Talmud or it won't. Not everything is listed here. Tana Rabbanon.
They depict it, they draw
A
it.
centaur, yeah.
They write about it.
Made up mices.
But you know where it comes from? It comes from the Greeks. Met the barbarians, the Scythian barbarians from the Ukrainian steppe, and they lived in horseback and were superb horsemen. They were sort of like the Comanche Indians in this country, and they were such superb horsemen. They looked like the horse and the man were one person.
Oh,
And I believe that's where the centaur thing comes from.
probably, yeah.
Tonu Rabbanon, we learned in the Brisa, Chamisha Devarim Nemru B'Shor. 5 things are said about dreaming about an ox. There are 5 different ways of having a dream about a bull. Ha'ocha b'saro, if you see yourself eating from the meat of a bull, misasha, you'll become wealthy. Nogcho, if you see a bull goring you, that's not a bad sign. It's a good sign. You will have sons who will gore each other in Torah. In other words, they'll argue vociferously in Torah because that's the way we studied. I remember I brought a group of Harvard students when I was at Harvard. I brought a group of Harvard students for a day in New York, and I took them to Olei Torah, which is the elite Chabad undergraduate yeshiva, and I had them study one-on-one. They were actually very impressed with the schedule because in 1 year they spend more hours studying than you do in 4 years in Harvard because they start at 7 in the morning and they end at 11 at
They
night.
did 1 year?
In 1 year, they do as many hours as you
No,
have
but
class.
they do 1 year.
No, it's 3 years.
What?
Then you go for the smicha.
Oh,
It's 3 years and another 2 years for smicha. But at any rate,
so instead of becoming a doctor, they wanted to be a rabbi.
yeah, but there are many people who've been through the Chabad yeshiva system who are lawyers and doctors, anyways.
Oh.
Get off this sort of the subject we're at. You talk about smicha. So if you go
But just before, I want to tell the story. There's a reason I'm telling the story, so that relates to the Gemara. So what happened? So the thing that shocked them was if you go to a study hall or a library in Harvard, still,
Yeah.
you walk into there's 600 bochum sitting there, all shouting at each other at the top of their lungs. And they say, how can you study in such an environment? I said, I can't study when it's quiet, and the point is shemanagchim, arguing, goring each other, because that's the way you learn. You make hypotheses on the Talmud, you argue, which is, by the way, why every year in Harvard Law, which is very hard to get in, is at least a half dozen yeshiva students. What I mean is people who went to regular yeshivas like Ner Yisrael or Lubavitch Yeshiva with no secular studies in the undergraduate. They got a degree in Talmudic letters, took the LSATs, and did so well, they went to the front of the line for Harvard. Because you learn how to think. But at any rate, the point is, Shemaganich and Zeba Torah, they gore each other. With Torah, it means to say that they argue strongly. So if you dream that an ox gored you, it's not a bad dream. It means you'll have kids who know how to study Torah and argue with each other. You should see sometimes when all the kids are home and they get into an argument at some point of Talmud, it's very lively at the table. Nishachoi, if you dream that an ox bit you, which is abnormal, oxen gore, they don't bite, Yisorim b'amalav, then you will have suffering. Ba'ata, if you dream that a bull kicked you, so a bull is a very strong kick. So derech hakokan is damnalo. You have a long wait. You're going to have a long journey. Not necessarily a bad one, but you're going on a long journey because when a bull kicks you, you fly a long way. Rechavo, if you see yourself riding on a bull, ola legdula, you will go up. You will rise to greatness. Your point about smicha, you had something you wanted to tell me about
getting smicha from a university. What about getting smicha from a particular rabbi?
No, so all smichas are sound. All smichas are sound by a group of rabbis, but there is the smichas like you have at Yeshiva University and the United Lubavitch Yeshiva, which are given by the organization. Then there's a smicha given by an individual rabbi, a group of rabbis ad hoc. In other words, I can go to any group of important rabbis and ask them for smicha. For example, one of my teachers had a personal smicha signed by Moshe Feinstein.
So
ordaining smicha could be done.
Each one individually or five together?
Or one, as you wish. Any one great rabbi can give smicha. But when but like if you're a member of the RCA, to join the RCA, you have to have smicha from a proper yeshiva. They don't want to rely on a smicha from some random rabbi, even a great one.
I don't know the particulars, but the 3 sons of Rabbi Shlomi Edelman studied in particular areas of the world, like some in Australia, one of them, one in France. The youngest one went to France, and they went there to study with a particular rabbi. They did not go to college.
No, but those yeshivas where they studied. They went to some particular rabbi, but they probably received smicha from a yeshiva, from a given given institution.
I think what the rabbi said is very important. You go to a
Everything the
specific,
rabbi says is very
no,
important.
because you go to a specific rabbi, you never know. This way, it's
It's
a
more
recognized
institution.
institution,
It's a college.
like
Right.
Well,
Harvard, you know,
Okay.
not
But
a
okay.
professor from Harvard.
Okay. Latanya, didn't we learn? Rachavo, didn't we learn a Bryce? If you dream that you're riding a bull mace, you'll die. Because that's often what happens if you try to ride a bull. Low kasha, no answer. Hadarachav hulasora. If you are riding on the ox, that shows you're going to become great. The rachav turali day, but if the ox is riding on you, then that's a bad sign. Because if an ox rides on, if a bull rides on you, you're going to get squished.
I thought the saying is that if you ride a tiger, it's okay. It's getting off the tiger.
Yeah, that's
is the
what I
problem.
believe Winston Churchill said this about dictators, that being a dictator is like riding a tiger.
Yeah.
It's
like-
easy to get on, not so easy to get off. Look at Putin.
Yeah, look at Putin is right. By the way, the Ukrainians officially now started their offensive.
Yeah, but they can't go through the big flood the Russians made.
Ay,
Anyways, we can't solve the world's problem, but we can
feel
learn some
sorry
Gemara.
for
a false
Okay,
step.
so tomorrow, everyone, we're going to learn what happens if you see a donkey in dreams. Another few pages of dreams, and then we'll be almost at the end of the tractate.
donkey. You're going to be very smart,
Isn't there
like a donkey.
stock market, I think a bull market
Right.
is a good market.
And a bear market is a bad market.
Is a bad.
But you know what they say, bulls make money, bears make money, but the pigs get slaughtered. Okay, don't be too greedy. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful day, and we will see you, God willing, Friday morning.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And thank you, Michal, for the pages. Have a good day, Natalie, and all the people watching this on Facebook or YouTube.
Bye,
Have a good
Natalie.
day.
Hi, das Gedanya, sei gesund und